So Shohei Ohtani in this gambling thing, where does this, is this a dead story now? Or does this...
God, no.
They have to be digging into this.
There are way more questions than answers at this point.
Is this Japanese Pete Rose?
I don't think so, but I understand why people do. So, like, the main argument that I've heard is, like, how does an interpreter, like some random dude, and I don't know anything, I've never had an illegal bookie before, so I don't know how much of this works, but...
I can tell you.
How does he get $4.5 million in the hole? Like, how does somebody allow him to get that in debt without paying along the way? Or like, dude, you're $2 million in debt. Like, how about you give me $500K? Let's cover it a little bit before we make another bet.
Yeah.
Now, my only thought process there is he knew that he was Ohtani's interpreter.
So, yes.
We all knew how much Ohtani just signed a contract for, which is hilarious. It's all deferred. His translator was probably like, dude, I need some of that money now. You're not going to get it for 10 years. But I think that would be my answer to that question. But I understand why a lot of people think that, and it's why this is not a dead story at all until we get more answers.
So I'd seen one of the blurbs. It might have been the ESPN one that I read, but I believe there was one of them that this guy that is handling the gambling ring in L.A.
Bowyer's his name or something like that?
Bauer, yeah. Is it Matt Bauer or something like that?
Yeah.
But he basically said he knew that the guy was with Ohtani because of the name. The name was linked, and obviously the account with the name on it. But he knew it was Ohtani, and he never said anything, but he would brag about it to people that would place bets with him, like, hey, one of my clients is Shohei Ohtani.
He just paid me $4.5 million.
And I understand that you can have a really good, close relationship. He's his interpreter, so he's going with him everywhere. He's translating everything for him. They're hanging out all the time. They were shown in the dugout yesterday morning at the game, laughing it up in the dugout, and I'm like, you kind of get an idea that something's going to break before everybody else. Really odd to be laughing and mucking it up with somebody. And then your story is, he stole $5 million from me. That's a pretty... If you stole $5 million from me...
that's not true. That's the part of this that's an absolute blatant lie.
Yes.
Nothing was stolen from Shohei Ohtani.
But that's why I think this story is deeper and juicier than it appears right now. And why, to be honest with you... Shohei is like an old 20, young 30-something. Come on, man. Like, what's happening in sports all around us? Gambling.
Gambling.
We had the Cavs coach yesterday, Bickerstaff. People send him death threats because his team will lose a game. You cost me my parlay. Halliburton. Hey, my DMs are just filled with guys telling me I didn't hit my over. Like, gambling, you and I and Schultze and a lot of people, we gamble. We're going to go to A today. But there are segments of the population that should not be doing it.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to act when they lose. And I just think it's such a popular thing that if you told me a 29-year-old worth $500 million or more is doing it, I'm not stunned by that.
Well,
so I think there's a lot more to this story. And I don't know what we'll find out, but it does not pass the smell test for sure.
No, on the other side of it, you kind of wonder, usually when there's big amounts of money, like millions of dollars, in this case, almost 5 million, or transactions of hundreds of thousands, you know where the money's coming from. These people don't do business just, $500,000 on a whim. You don't get a marker like that with many people.
A Japanese interpreter is not going to go, hey, could you spot me $500K as a bookie? And he's like, no. Okay, I know Shohei Ohtani. I'm in.
But he definitely knew what he was doing because they met at a poker game. And if you meet at hey, what do you do for a living? Hey, I'm Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. Like, he knew who he was.
Yes.
Yeah. He knew who he worked for.
Yes.
This was a back channel thing. This happens a lot with a lot of rich people. We just don't hear about it. And now in the public eye, trying to wash the story clean, it's like, is this a fall guy? Is this not? And let me point out, if he is a fall guy for Shohei, what did Pete Rose say for 15 years? I didn't bet on baseball. Oh, okay, 15 years later. Okay, you know what? I bet on baseball. Okay, I didn't bet on my own team. Damn it. Okay, I bet on my own team, but it was only to win, all right? So 10 years later, we might get the answer.
Do we know? I mean, come on. Can we be honest here for a second in this conversation? Pete Rose definitely had at least one game that he faded his squad.
It's like, dude, this guy's on the mound today. I'm not gambling on him. Are you kidding me? We're going down. There's no chance in hell we win this game this afternoon.
I want to know what college football action Shohei Ohtani's like, I gotta hit them on the money line today.
Yeah, what's the college line this year that put him $4 million in the hole. Like, what's the one that lost him the most money?
Oregon,
Did he gamble
Washington.
on my Ducks in the Pac-12 title game?
Did he take the Niners in the Super Bowl? I don't know.
I mean, hand up. I did.
Oh,
Minus
man.
2.5. I'll take
So
him.
did
No,
I.
that money's flushed down the toilet. See you later.
It's just I love watching him play. It sucks that he's a Dodger because that team just feels unfair right now compared to so many. But man, baseball, they got to be holding their breath on this story that this doesn't go any deeper than what it is. Maybe we find out one more little thing, but you hope that this is kind of it. Otherwise, that guy flips and he's like, actually, the interpreter said at a poker meetup that Shohei really loved the Colorado Buffaloes in the first 4 weeks of the regular season.
He loved him at odds.
He loved Prime.
Plus 20.5. He's all over the Buffs this weekend. It is, when you read into the story, too, this guy has a lot of other folks wrapped up into this. So
he's the big gambling guy in the LA area.
So Yasiel Puig evidently is under investigation for his involvement with this bookie.
I'm stunned.
Remember that he was going to be the face of baseball? That was a fun time. There was a random baseball analyst who was in an insane amount of debt with him. There was a football player.
Did we get the name of the analyst?
We don't have the analyst, and there was an NFL player evidently in massive debt with this guy. And so he's got his tentacles in a lot of different areas. You point out, though, he's under investigation. Eventually there will be charges made. He's probably going to flip and turn and give some evidence and some information for a lighter sentence. Like, at some point that will happen, and so maybe that's what it takes to get more details out of this. It's just hilarious to me that in 2024, you feel like you have the ability to tell a story to a reporter. Like, hey, no, let's get out in front of this. Let's be honest. Okay, here's what happened. I'm in debt. Shohei loaned the money. Like, we tried to take care of it. This is all my fault. My apologies. And then, like, 2 hours later, you pretend to come out and say that didn't happen.
A 90-minute interview is
a
not...
90-minute interview.
That's not just sitting down and saying a couple things.
He's like, I want to spill the tea, man. I don't want Shohei to get in trouble for this. We're best friends and all that. Like, let's make sure we're all above and above. And then next thing you know, it's like, nope, that didn't happen. He stole the money from Shohei Ohtani.
What that tells me is there's something else in this that we haven't found out yet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, I don't think that there necessarily has to be. I just think they're trying to protect Shohei's connection. Like, dude, he wired an illegal bookie $4.5 million. Yeah. How has the NFL handled players who have, like, laid a preseason bet from a locker room?
Calvin Ridley got suspended for a
year. And that was gambling on an NFL preseason game because he was on, like, they have their rules. Mm-hmm. This is an illegal bookie that he wired 4.5, like, his fingerprints are all over this. Yes. And I think they changed the story because they realize, oh, crap, we might be in some trouble.
That's actually kind of what I'm getting at, is I do think maybe there's some evidence that we have, because it doesn't sound like these were like over the phone, but there's got to be either some sort of record via text message that this was happening, or location that Shohei Ohtani was placed at with this guy, or the interpreter. I have a feeling there's something known about these two being together or their connections together that we just don't know about yet. That's my guess.
Well, one thing about that, though, is so far the guy is saying he never talked with Shohei, he never saw Shohei. And if Shohei was having a little bit of an it, maybe it's a co-thing. You know, maybe they're both gambling. I mean,
Tristan Thompson said he didn't cheat on his wife, and then, he had a kid while he was married as an NBA player. Come on!
Oh, but they're always hanging out, and they're probably watching football together. You tell me Shohei's not like, yo, can you add a 10 G's for me on this team with these, whatever. I wouldn't be shocked by it, but so far he has not actually said that he ever talked or saw Shohei Ohtani. This was just the interpreter. It's going to be a pretty wild thing if we lose Shohei Ohtani for Major League Baseball because he pulls a Pete Rose.
Does Rob Manfred have the balls to do it?
I mean, you kind of have to, right? You know what's funny?
I would also argue they have to suspend the Astro players for cheating, and none of them got in any trouble.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We had the Black Sox. Yeah. We had that incident, and the Astros cheated and was like, we'll move on from that.
Yeah, they threw a World Series. They all got booted out of the game. I mean, I don't know where this comes from, but where it goes, but somebody with a good line at the Vancouver Ford text line saying, I'm sure he kept taking the Iowa football overs. It's like, no, dude, it's 29.5. They're playing Nebraska. They have to get to 30. This is the week the over hits.
I almost wore my punt sweatshirt you gave me, but it's too small.
I know. We got to get you a different size on that one.
I know. Oh, man. What a story.
This has been, and this is going to unravel for a long time.
He's one of the biggest athletes in the world, and $4.5 million just wire transferred to an illegal bookie?
Makes you feel better about yourself, though, doesn't it?
Well,
like, I'm a bad gambler, but I'm not that bad.
No, I don't. I'm not putting the, hey, I got the equity line credit on my house. Let's put it on the money line.
That's
here.
what the baseball analyst reportedly told him. He was going to mortgage his house to pay off his gambling debt with this guy, man.